Hi everyone, how are you doing? My name is Becca and today we're just going to talk a little bit, and if you're following along on my YouTube video, we're going to have the same conversation while I paint. I've actually never done something like this before, but this has always been something that I've wanted to do, probably just like any other teenage girl wanting to start a podcast, wanting to do a YouTube video during quarantine. But this semester, I took a positive psychology course, and for our final project, my professor asked us to do something called P1. And if it weren't for this project, I would not have the opportunity to actually start something that I want to pursue. So here we are. And if you're anything like me, you have probably never heard of P1. And that's probably because my professor made it up. Well, he didn't make it up. It's not like make-believe, but he thought of this whole concept. And P1 stands for the power of one. And it just basically means that all it takes is one person and their 1 degree of extra effort to make a positive difference. So today, I'm going to talk about the degrees of effort that I put in to live the ultimate good life. I'm going to be talking about a few different things that I've learned from the positive psychology course and just things in general that I've learned throughout my 19 years of living. No, I haven't been alive for that long, but you'd be surprised by the things that I've experienced and the things that I've seen, and I'm sure that all of you out there or whoever's listening have probably seen some crazy things in their lifetime. I'm also going to talk about tools that I use in my everyday life to maintain overall happiness and things that you can do as well to live every day to the absolute fullest. Now, don't get me wrong, we all have bad days. We have those rainy days where all we want to do is stay in, not talk to anyone, rewatch all the Harry Potters. Like, trust me, I've been there, but even those blah days can be lived to the fullest. The first thing that I want to address is something that I have learned throughout my life, and that is that everyone is living a different life. But the only thing that we can do is control our own. See, we all experience these different levels of happiness and completely different levels of stress, but it's up to us how we react to those different situations and how we grow from them. There's absolutely nothing positive that we can take away from a bad attitude. One thing that also stems from that point is that we can't compare ourselves to others. I, especially growing up as a young female, I compare myself to others literally every single day. And that's so toxic to do to yourself because we all have different metabolisms that make our bodies look a certain way. Some of us just are lazy. Like, I'm lazy. I cannot get up and do 100 sit-ups. Like, it's just not possible. Well, it is possible, but I just have to put my mind to it. I'm getting there. But you can't compare yourself to others because you are your own person. You do things completely different than the other person. And if you're like me, you compare yourself to Kendall Jenner and all these different models, but they have money. I don't have money. I cannot get plastic surgery. I cannot get liposuction. These are things that I cannot change about myself, and I'm working on accepting myself for who I am and the things that I cannot change. And this is one little extra thing that I have learned that I'm slowly still learning and trying to just put into the back of my mind every day, that I am my own person and I cannot compare myself to the other people around me. The next thing that I have learned is that I just have to keep doing the things that I love, but within reason. You're probably thinking I'm crazy for telling you to do the things that you love, but not doing them to the fullest, but that's not really what I mean. I'm going to try to explain it the best I can, so stick with me. So what I'm really trying to say is that we shouldn't have to go to the extent where it impacts our happiness and that it destroys our mental health. So, for example, making others smile and laugh, that's probably the greatest gift that anyone could possibly give to me. But sometimes I get so caught up in it that I don't even realize the fears that have built up over this. Like, I am so extremely afraid of disappointment, and I know I'm not the only person that feels this way. I'm so afraid of not being accepted. I'm so afraid of making enemies because all I want to do is just please people. and that's where I get my source of happiness from. So that's just one thing that I've learned. I cannot obsessively try to make people like me. It's just completely not healthy, because it doesn't make me feel like I should, and it gets to the point where I'm like not even happy anymore, because all I'm trying to do is not make people disappointed in me. So that's where I'm trying to get to the point where you need to keep doing what you love, but not to the point where it doesn't make you happy anymore. I'm going to try to describe a picture to you that I saw on Instagram, or I think it was maybe even on TikTok, I'm not really sure, but it's these two friends that are facing each other, and they both have batteries on their backs, and person A has 3 out of the 4 bars of life, and person B only has 2 out of the 4 bars. So that means that the second person, person B, has less life than person A. So person B sees person A in distress and really wants to make them feel better. So person B gives one of his last 2 bars of life left to person A. While yes, we can all agree that person B made a kind sacrifice to help out his friend, he forgot to take care of himself. And that's the point that I'm trying to get at. We cannot forget about ourselves. Like I said before, giving myself to other people is one of my favorite things, and it keeps me happy over time. But one thing that I'm still trying to realize and come to my senses about is that I cannot give myself to others if there's no more of me to give. And that is something that I continue to struggle with, because all I want to do is help out other people. I always say this to my boyfriend: if I have $500 in my bank account, I'd much rather spend that $500 on someone else than myself. Yes, giving $500 to other people is super kind and super generous. I'm left broke. I cannot be left broke. You cannot be left broke. You need to leave some behind for yourself. Now that I've pointed out everything that I shouldn't do to live a good life, I'm going to talk about some things that I am doing to live a good life. For one assignment that we had to do throughout my positive psychology course, we had to keep a gratitude journal. And I did mine every morning. I'm pretty sure it was for 30 days that I wrote down one thing that I'm grateful for and why. And for me, it was just a nice, physical, great reminder I was literally counting my blessings. I was counting my blessings, and that is so refreshing. I never realized how much I had and what I was not really missing out on, but things that I didn't really appreciate as time went on. I wrote little things such as like my dog, seeing someone else's dog, the free bagel I got that morning. Like, it was something so completely small and random that it was still a great reminder for my everyday life, and it was just great to keep track of those things. Another thing that I'm doing, as you can probably tell, is that I love to paint. The main reason why I love to paint is because I enter that flow state. And when I enter the flow state, my mind gets so involved in what I'm doing, in the painting that I'm doing, that I physically cannot let negative emotions or thoughts into my mind. Since that requires minimal effort depending on how crazy you get about painting. For me, I kind of just let go at a certain point. Obviously, there are some points where I get really stressed about making a mistake or something, but for the most part, I am just completely zoned out and just doing stroke by stroke and having so much fun, and it's just so relaxing. The best way to describe the flow state is, quote unquote, getting out of your 9-to-5 mind. It's just something that you can retreat back to after a busy day. Like, after I'm done all my work, my schoolwork, I've did all my chores for the day. Not that my mom makes me do chores, like I just like to clean and whatever, that's besides the point. But it's just something that I can go back to release my stresses and to block out the negative energy. And I think by finding something that I'm passionate about, it just continues to increase my overall happiness throughout the day. The last thing that I really want to address is things that you can do to maintain your good life. And these are things that I seriously think about all the time, that I think that other people need to think about all the time as well. The first thing that I feel is really important is maintaining healthy relationships with others. And that's not just relationships in general, because personally I have very few friends, but that's completely okay to me because I have extremely healthy relationships with the people around me. I'm not going to say you have to make sure, just because I don't want it to feel like a chore, but staying connected with your high school friends or friends that you've had throughout your whole life, even while going to college, that is a great step to maintaining healthy friendships. Obviously, if you need to cut people out of your life from your past that you need to, that is completely fine. It's all about quality and not quantity. It does not matter if you have 10 friends or 2 friends. It's just all about who you're staying connected with. And under that same realm, it is so important to build a relationship with your parents or your guardians or just the people that you live with. Or if you have roommates, if you're living in a dorm with one other person, it's really important to create a healthy relationship with them. Because it's really important to have a comfortable environment to go back to after your daily life. If you're coming home from a stressful job, stressful school life, and you're coming home to an even more stressful environment, you're never gonna escape those negative feelings. Where you are living, where you're sleeping, where you're eating should be a safe haven for you. If it is not, then you need to do whatever you can to fix it. It's time to create a comfortable environment for yourself to just sit in and feel relaxed. Next thing to do that is equally as important is to maintain a healthy relationship with yourself. This all goes back to not being able to give yourself to others because there's no more of you to give, not comparing yourself to others, and make sure that you have something that you're passionate about. Those are all ways to maintain a healthy relationship for yourself, because you should be and you are the most important person in your life. And I really think that we forget about that sometimes. You're a person on this earth just like the other people around you, and you are living your life, and you should be the most important person in your life. The last thing that I want to leave you with is that I really think that this is important for people in their teens, 20s. I want everyone to understand that you should not be afraid to find yourself, because that's what life is all about. Finding yourself, being yourself, and doing whatever you can to explore the world around you. And if there are things that are holding you back from exploring the world around you and exploring yourself, fix it. Create a comfortable environment for yourself, maintain those healthy relationships, find the right people around you, find the right person inside your head to tell you that you need to live your life the way that you absolutely want to. If you're not happy, what are you doing? What aren't you doing? What can you do to fix it? I really hope none of this sounded harsh. I'm just so serious about it. I really want everyone to live to their fullest and live life as it should be, because we don't have time to just mess around. Wait, that's actually not the point. We have time to mess around. We don't have time to sit in a negative energy for the rest of our life. Life is too short. Life is way too short, and if you're not happy, find your happiness. Thank you all for listening. I am so happy that I could finally do something and talk to you about something that I'm so passionate about, and that is just overall happiness and maintaining your happiness, because we have all lived our bad days that we need to go out there and experience happy ones. So if you're not living a happy life, what can you do to fix it? See you on the next one.